Task 1. Ron Chow, a driving instructor, is giving a talk to members of the RSC. Listen to the talk and write the information in the spaces below. The first one has been provided as an example. You now have 30 seconds to study the task. At the end of the task, you will have 1 minute to tidy up your answers.
Thanks for that introduction, David, and hello everyone. I'm Ron, and I've been working as a driving instructor here in Hong Kong for over a decade. Teaching people to drive in one of the world's most crowded cities is a very stressful job, especially when you think about the number of accidents that happen here each year. As I was preparing for this talk, I had a quick look at some statistics from the Transport Department. I was shocked to see that, on average, there are around 120 fatal traffic accidents in Hong Kong each year. That's pretty scary. What's even scarier is that the total number of traffic accidents is in the thousands, about 16,000 to be more exact. While a lot of those 16,000 are just minor prangs, 2,500 or so are serious accidents. Now, as part of my research, I also looked at how many accidents occur in different parts of Hong Kong. You're probably thinking that most crashes happen in crowded areas, but that's not necessarily the case. In fact, the area of Hong Kong where there are the most crashes is the northern part of the New Territories. Kowloon East has the fewest crashes, followed by Hong Kong Island, the New Territories South, and then Kowloon West. So, New Territories North is the worst, followed by Kowloon West. I thought it was interesting that a rural area like the New Territories North would have the highest number of crashes, but then I thought about it some more, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, the way I see it, as there is less traffic out there, people drive faster, which makes it more likely that they'll have an accident. You can't drive fast when you're stuck in traffic, can you? I think that's probably the reason. People drive faster because there's less traffic. Now, that reason doesn't explain why Kowloon West has more accidents than other crowded areas, but when you look at the figures in those areas, they're all quite similar. I just mentioned speed as a factor in causing accidents, but as it turns out, there are other things that are more of a problem. As you're interested in trying to make our roads safer, I thought I'd run through them for you. The first one I'd like to mention is drivers who are distracted while they're driving. If drivers get distracted, they can easily find themselves in trouble. For example, they might be distracted because they're texting, or maybe they're talking on their phones. If they are texting or talking on their phones, they might not notice the pedestrian who's stepping out in front of them, or that the car in front is braking suddenly. Of course, phones aren't the only things that can distract drivers, but they're a biggie. Another cause of accidents is drivers who don't follow road rules. I mean, rules are there for a reason, so if you don't follow them, bad things are going to happen. Speeding is a clear example of road rules not being followed. Running red lights is another one. You know, when drivers keep on driving even though the traffic light is red. Speeding and running red lights are big causes when it comes to accidents. The third cause I'd like to mention is drivers losing control of their vehicles. Obviously, there can be many different reasons for drivers to lose control of their vehicles, but the result is nearly always the same: an accident. Now, I'd like to ask you what you think dangerous driving means. Can you suggest any specific examples of dangerous driving that you've seen? Yes.
I think it's really bad when people drive too close to the car in front of them. My husband always does that. He drives too close to the car in front, and it terrifies me, because I know he won't have time to stop if the other car brakes unexpectedly.
Great example. Tailgating is really dangerous. I teach all of my students to stay a safe distance behind other cars. Anybody else? David?
What upsets me is careless lane changing, like people who don't look before they change lanes. I've seen a few accidents like that. Someone changed lanes carelessly, and before they knew it, they'd hit another car, or another car had hit them.
Another great example. Careless lane changing is a great way to wreck your car. Okay, one more. Yes, miss.
I guess this is kind of like David's example, but I think it's really dangerous when people don't use their mirrors.
Yes, good one. We're not talking about just lane changing here. If you aren't using your mirrors when you drive, you're driving dangerously. You need to be aware of what's going on around you at all times. That's why cars have mirrors. Thanks for the suggestions, everyone. I think we'll take a short break now. I need a cup of tea. And we'll continue this in, say, 15 minutes?
That is the end of task 1. You now have 1 minute to tidy up your answers.